Peacock, watch the clock, ladies and gentlemen. He's hit the front, he's hit the straight. There you go. 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20.
The sprint world is buzzing with excitement as 17-year-old Australian phenom Gout Gout has just accomplished something that has sent shockwaves through track and field, becoming the first Australian athlete in history to break the 20-second barrier in the 200 meters. At the 128th Queensland Athletics Championships in Brisbane, Gout clocked an astonishing 19.98 seconds. A performance that has legends of the sport breaking down what this means for the future of sprinting. While the time won't count as an official record due to wind assistance of plus 3.6 meters per second, the significance of this achievement cannot be overstated. As track and field legend Rodney Green explained on the March 19th episode of Ready, Set, Go,
he is the first Australian to sub 20 seconds in all conditions. I was happy for him. He wished that it was wind legal, but the wind didn't permit for it. It was just a little bit over the allowable, but he is the first Australian with sub 20 seconds in all conditions, which is good. I watched him, and the competition is not even, no disrespect to this competition because they are youth athletes like him, but he beat those kids by 2 seconds, bro.
What makes Gout's performance even more jaw-dropping is the margin by which he dominated his competition. The young sprinter didn't just win, he obliterated the field, finishing a full 2 seconds ahead of his closest competitor. In sprint terms, this isn't just winning, it's competing in an entirely different race altogether. Four-time world champion Justin Gatlin was left stunned by the visual evidence of Gout's dominance, remarking, "They weren't even in the screen. When the TV was panning and you was watching him pull away from the field, he just was in the screen by himself." The Queensland Championships showcased Gout's versatility and sustained excellence across multiple events. First, he captured the 100-meter title with a time of 10.38 seconds. Then, in the 200-meter heats, he posted a world-leading mark of 20.05 seconds with a wind reading of plus 1.2 meters per second, making it the fastest 200-meter run by any athlete in 2025 as of March 19th. But it was his wind-assisted 19.98 in the final that has the track world truly buzzing. This performance comes just months after Gout broke Usain Bolt's world age 16 best in the 200 meters. In 2024, at the Australian All-Schools Championships in Brisbane, he clocked 20.04 seconds to surpass Bolt's 20.13, which had stood since 2003. For context, these records from Bolt's teenage years were once considered virtually untouchable, as Rayansh Dubey aptly described them. Bolt's records used to be like those carved in stone and thrown into the bottom of the ocean. You just knew they were there, and catching them up was something next to impossible. But wait, there is more. The comparisons to Bolt are inevitable, but what's truly remarkable is how quickly Gout is closing the gap to the Jamaican legend's senior records. Bolt's world record in the 200 meters stands at 19.19 seconds, set at the 2009 World Championships in Berlin. While Gout's 19.98 came with significant wind assistance, the fact that he's already flirting with sub-20 performances at just 17 years old suggests a trajectory that could eventually challenge even Bolt's most hallowed marks. Gatlin, who had competed against Bolt throughout much of his career, raised important questions about what would come next for the young Australian star. Do you put him on a more international schedule to where he can race other athletes of his caliber and he will be in that season to be able to race them? Or do you just kind of let him be the king of his own domain? This concern highlights a genuine development dilemma. Gout has clearly outgrown his domestic competition, winning by margins that don't push him to his absolute limits. The 40-year-old sprint legend suggested a balanced approach. I think he's going to kind of take the Quincy route. He's going to run some of his age group and then some meet where he could jump into a pro race. This strategy would allow Gout to continue dominating age-appropriate competitions while occasionally testing himself against world-class professional sprinters. What we witnessed at the Queensland Championships was both a coronation and a warning shot to the international sprint community.
For our sport to really have a governing body to really go through ranks, I think he's going to kind of take the Quincy route. He's going to run some of his age group, and then some meets where he could jump into a pro race, he will.
The coronation came as Gout officially became the first Australian to break the 20-second barrier in any conditions. The warning shot is aimed at the established sprint hierarchy. Gout Gout is already running times that would be competitive at major international championships. The excitement surrounding Gout extends beyond just his times. Track enthusiasts are witnessing the emergence of potentially the next great sprint star. When a teenager is already posting world-leading times before their 18th birthday, the natural question becomes, what might they accomplish when they reach their physical prime in their mid-20s? For reference, Bolt didn't set his first world record until age 21, and his most dominant performances came between the ages of 22 and 26. With the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics on the horizon, Gout is positioning himself as one of the most anticipated attractions of those games. By then, he'll be 20 years old and potentially entering his prime years as a sprinter. The article concludes, so keep your ears and eyes wide open. Gout Gout continues to improve. At this rate, we might see him in LA 2028. What's particularly impressive about Gout's development is his consistency across different competitions. Breaking the 20-second barrier didn't come as a one-off fluke. It followed his world-leading 20.05 in the heats and came months after his 20.04 that broke Bolt's age 16 record. This pattern of improvement suggests a meticulously planned development curve that could eventually place him among the all-time greats. The wind-assisted nature of his sub-20 performance adds an interesting layer to the achievement. While it won't count for record purposes, it provides valuable psychological data. Gout now knows what it feels like to see 19 at the start of his time. That mental barrier has been broken, potentially making it easier to reproduce under legal conditions in the future. For Australian athletes, this moment represents a paradigm shift. The nation has produced excellent sprinters before, but never one who has broken the 20-second barrier at any age, let alone as a teenager. Gout's emergence gives Australia legitimate hope for sprint medals at major championships, a category traditionally dominated by athletes from the United States, Jamaica, and increasingly, African nations. Is Gout Gout the next Usain Bolt or forging his path? While the comparisons are natural, he has the chance to build a unique legacy. Bolt's impact went beyond speed. His charisma reshaped sprinting. As Gout's journey begins, the world watches to see not just his times, but the athlete he becomes. What would be the best development path for this 17-year-old phenom, focusing on age group dominance or testing himself against professional competition? The debate continues, but one thing is certain. The sprint world has found its next potential superstar, and his name is Gout Gout. What do you think about Gout Gout's incredible performance at the Queensland Championships? Is he on track to challenge Bolt's senior world records in the coming years? Share your thoughts in comment section.
Lee, Gout, Atkinson, Cully, Brady, Peacock, what's the clock, ladies and gentlemen? He's hit the front, he's hit the straight. There you go. 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20.
Gout Gout just delivered the performance everyone has been waiting for, breaking the magical 20-second barrier in the 200 meters with a stunning 19.98 seconds at the Queensland State Championships on Sunday. The 17-year-old Australian sprint sensation has done what no other Australian in history has accomplished, becoming the first from his country to dip under the 20-second mark, though the wind-assisted run won't count as an official record. This breakthrough comes a day after his dominant U-2100-meter victory, solidifying Gout as Australia's top sprint talent and a rising global force in athletics. I felt literally free. I had 80 meters left to go, and I thought, let's send it, Gout said after his historic final. Only from then did I believe I had a chance of going sub-20. Seeing the clock, I was really happy and surprised in a way, but it just felt like a weight off my shoulders. Now that I've done it, I've just got to do that more consistently. Gout's path to Sunday's breakthrough began with an already remarkable heat performance earlier in the day, where he clocked 20.05, the fastest 200-meter time in the world this year. That alone was headline-worthy, but the teenage phenom was just getting started.
I didn't expect it to be that fast, but I guess her end shows the fastest every time in the 200. I've been chasing that record, but I didn't think it would come this year. I thought it would come maybe next year or the year after that.
Though the 19.98 won't be an official record due to excessive wind, Gout has shattered the psychological barrier, proving he can run sub-20. This places him among elite junior sprinters and makes an official sub-20 feel inevitable. His achievement is historic. No Australian man has legally broken 20 seconds. Peter Norman's 20th of June, set in 1968, stood for 56 years until Gout's 20th of April in December 2024. Norman's time earned Olympic silver behind Tommy Smith, underscoring the world-class standard Gout now challenges. Gout's meteoric rise has stunned the sprinting world. Just 3 months ago, at 16, he ran 20.04 at the Australian All-Schools Championships, surpassing Norman's record and even Usain Bolt's time at the same age. Paired with his 10.17 in the 100 meters, he has emerged as a generational talent poised to rewrite history. But wait, there is more. This weekend's championships in Brisbane have only strengthened that reputation. On Saturday, Gout dominated the U2100-meter final, running 10.38 seconds in rain-soaked conditions with a slight headwind. What made that victory impressive wasn't just the time, but the manner, finishing a staggering 0.43 seconds ahead of his nearest competitor, Michael Alafokai, a margin rarely seen at this level of competition. "It's one of the top 10 times of my career, so I couldn't be happier," Gout said after Saturday's 100-meter victory, demonstrating both his high standards and remarkable maturity. The 10th 38 clocking ranked as the 5th fastest time of his young career, a mark most sprinters would consider exceptional in perfect conditions, let alone on a wet track. Gout's achievements are even more impressive given that his strength lies in finishing speed rather than starts, an area he's still refining. Analysis shows he covered the second 100 meters of a 200-meter race in 9.34 seconds, fastest closing speed ever by a junior and among the top 10 all-time at any level. Gout's extraordinary closing speed has drawn inevitable comparisons to Usain Bolt. Like the Jamaican legend, he often trails early before unleashing a blistering finish that leaves competitors behind. The comparisons are obvious. Not just the times, but the technique and how he storms from the back like a hurricane, noted Australian media. "I just learned to be myself and follow my processes," Gout explained, showing wisdom beyond his years. "You can do all the work in the world, but if you're in good mental shape, you'll be right." This psychological maturity is particularly impressive given the extraordinary pressure and expectations he faces as a teenage prodigy.
Cody Jordan as his nearest challenger, starting to roll, just too late. It is the double for Pianda Walaza.
Despite still being in high school, Gout has already signed a multi-million-dollar sponsorship deal with Adidas that runs through the 2032 Brisbane Olympics. The contract, reportedly worth over $6 million, represents a significant investment in his future, though many experts believe the value could prove to be a bargain given his trajectory. The timing of Gout's rise couldn't be better for Australian athletics. With the 2032 Olympics set to be held in Brisbane, Gout's home state, the teenager's development timeline aligns perfectly with what should be the peak of his career. By then, Gout will be 24 years old, typically considered the prime age for male sprinters. Australian Olympic legend Cathy Freeman has been watching Gout's development with interest and sees something special in the teenager. "He is just something else," Freeman told 7 News Spotlight. "Watching him race, it's like he's been shot out of a cannon or something. He's quite extraordinary. He's probably smarter than I was at that age. He's quicker, but he's certainly got the world at his feet." World Athletics president Sebastian Coe has also taken notice, recently describing Gout as a rare talent who needs nurturing and protecting. This recognition from the sport's global leadership highlights the potential impact Gout could have on track and field in the coming years. The next major test for Gout will come at the Maury Plant meet in Melbourne on March 29th, which will be broadcast live on Australian television. That competition will give Gout another opportunity to chase an official sub-20 time, this time with a larger audience watching. Gout has already surpassed the 20.16 qualifying mark for this year's World Championships in Tokyo, positioning him to face the world's best, including Noah Lyles, whom he boldly challenged on the Beyond the Records podcast. Trying to show you what's up, whatever I gotta do to show Noah I'm coming for that spot, Gout told the Olympic champion directly, displaying the confidence necessary to compete at the highest level. This fearlessness, combined with his physical gifts and technical development, makes Gout a genuine threat even against established stars. Gout's trajectory is even more thrilling given that sprinters typically peak in their early 20s. At just 17, he's still developing physically and technically, with major room for improvement in his start. If he pairs that with his elite finishing speed, his potential for faster times is staggering. Only 2 junior sprinters have ever broken both 10 seconds in the 100 meters and 20 seconds in the 200 meters. With Sunday's wind-assisted 19.98, Gout has shown he could be the third, potentially achieving this milestone even earlier than his predecessors. The athletics world is watching Gout with growing anticipation as the sport enters a new era of professionalization and soaring prize money. The 2026 Ultimate Championship offers a $10 million purse, and the Diamond League has doubled its payouts, with winners now earning up to $50,000 in finals. The question isn't if Gout will break the 20-second barrier in legal conditions, but when and how much faster he can go in both the 100 meters and 200 meters before reaching his peak. With his raw talent, relentless work ethic, elite coaching, and room for technical refinement, especially in his starts, his potential seems boundless. What's certain is that the athletics world is witnessing something special. At just 17, Gout isn't merely a future star, he's already a force in global sprinting. His 19.98, wind-assisted or not, is another electrifying milestone in a story that's only just beginning.
Away now, 3 heats. Under 20 boys, 100 meters. 10:35 on the clock there for Gout Gout. He'll be through to the...
Gout Gout just delivered another jaw-dropping performance at the Queensland Athletics Championships 2025, continuing his relentless assault on the record books that has even the legendary Usain Bolt taking notice. The 17-year-old Australian sprint sensation battled through challenging conditions to dominate the under-20 100-meter final with a time that would make elite senior athletes envious, further cementing his status as track and field's next global superstar.
Oh, here, Gout Gout. He's already got the stagger, so he moves right on past Chase Grant, and now we really start to open him up. So let the legs loose and let the kid run. He is absolutely gone. He is Gout of this world. 20.07.
Despite facing rain-soaked tracks and unfavorable wind in Brisbane on Saturday, Gout crushed the Queensland Sport and Athletics Centre competition, clocking an impressive 10.38 seconds to claim the under-20 100-meter title. This wasn't just a narrow victory. He finished a staggering 0.43 seconds ahead of second-placed Michael Alafokai, a margin that speaks volumes about his exceptional talent, even in challenging conditions. "It's one of the top 10 times of my career, so I couldn't be happier," Gout said after his dominant win. What makes this even more remarkable is that this 10th.38 performance ranks as the 5th fastest mark of his young career, a time most sprinters would consider exceptional even in perfect conditions, let alone on a wet track.
Olympics.
I didn't expect it to be that fast, but I guess I ran the fastest every time in the 200. I've been chasing that record, but I didn't think it would come this year. I thought it would come maybe next year or the year after.
The young phenom had already signaled his intentions earlier in the day, topping his preliminary heat with a nearly identical time of 10.39 seconds. Both marks improved upon his season-opening 10.44 from last month's Sally Pearson Shield meet. showing his upward trajectory as the season progresses. His ability to maintain consistency in difficult weather conditions demonstrates a maturity beyond his years. This latest triumph adds another chapter to Gout's rapidly expanding legend. Just months ago, at the Australian All-School Championships in December 2024, he shattered Usain Bolt's junior world record in the 200 meters with a stunning time of 20.04 seconds, a mark that not only broke youth records but also smashed the Australian national record that had stood since Peter Norman's 20.06 in 1968. That's right. This teenager broke a national record that had stood untouched for over 56 years.
Starting to roll, just too late. It is the double of Beyanda.
What makes Gout's achievements even more impressive is the company he's joining.